What is up, everybody? It's Mason interrupting my intro.
Start over.
Well, you know, I feel like this should just be part of it, honestly. Episode 3.
Why would you jump in the middle of my countdown?
I literally waited for 3, 2, 1. You said go. I started talking, and then you started talking as I started talking.
Gosh,
this is true.
But that's fitting for Between Two Coins. Some of you might be listening to this on Spotify. Some of you might be watching on YouTube. Either way, welcome, welcome. We're joined today. Smay's here. Smay, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we're joined by Nick Dye from, some of you guys might know him as the Cryptokeeper, but he is from Debate Crypto. Nick, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing well. I'm really blessed to be here. I appreciate you guys for inviting me on.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do this. It sounds like someone might be coming to the door. Oh no!
And we're gonna kick them out.
Man, people need to get on the schedule.
Yeah.
This time.
Got to put a lock on the door, bro, or like have one of the on-air, lights outside.
We do need a big on-air light.
No, so again, welcome to everybody. But Nick, we brought you on. We got to have brunch at the Bitcoin conference, and we talked a lot of stuff. We're gonna go a lot of different places with this interview and get to know a little more about you, get to know more about what your thoughts are on crypto. We'll just kick back, discuss those things. Also, I think there's some information you don't even know that happened this morning. Today,
that's what I hear.
You guys are watching this or listening to this on Saturday or later. It is Thursday right now, the 14th.
Yes, April 14th.
My date's correct on that. Sometimes it's hard to remember.
So this is going to be going out, on the 16th?
I think something like that. I don't
16th,
know.
16th, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there's news that happened this morning that has to do with Elon Musk that Nick doesn't even know about. So we're going to get you're going to see his blind reaction to the Elon news. I can't wait for that. But the first thing I want to jump into, Nick.
Yeah.
What brought you to crypto? Why are you a crypto YouTuber? You're on Twitter. You're on different places. Are you other places? I follow you on YouTube and Twitter. Are you on any other resource like TikTok or Instagram or anything?
Yeah, I actually my social media presence started with TikTok. I have the biggest presence on TikTok as it relates to actual followers. But I actually, my wife, I've been in crypto for about 5 years, but to kind of give you the short story, my wife doesn't really care for crypto. She loves the fact that it has done well for our family, but as far as it, understanding it or having a conversation about it, it's just not really there. And so one day back in the end of May of last year, I said, you know what? You don't want to talk to me about crypto? That's fine. I'm going to jump on TikTok and talk to some of those people about it. And I jokingly told her that I was going to, take over the crypto world by storm. And it was funny because the first night that I made a video on TikTok, Wendy-O, and I've told her this, Wendy-O actually stitched my video and then told a bunch of people to go follow me. So I'm laying in bed after telling my wife that I was going to take the crypto world by storm and this being a whole big joke. And my phone is buzzing and I got like 300 or 400 followers the very first night that I was on TikTok.
Wow. Yeah. That's starting off on the right foot. How long ago was that? You said, maybe you said I missed it. May?
Yeah, that was the end of May. Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's quick. Yeah, Smay's wife doesn't really care about crypto.
Yeah, my wife. She's really quiet. She doesn't like to talk to me. She also doesn't exist, so
makes it rough.
That's a tough one.
My wife cares. She works for our company, so she cares a lot. Although she was the classic when I think I've said this before, but we invested back in 2020, and she was the what we invested when it was 11,000 something like that. And then it dipped down to like 10,000 something, and she was like, "We just lost our money.
Knew we shouldn't have done this.
Pull out." And it's like, no, just sit and wait. It'll go up and to the right. And sure enough, she's now a believer. Now she is my wife is she does her own thing. She's an owner of SafeMoon against my better judgment. I tried to stop her. So you don't have that problem, But yeah, no. So you own a business, right?
Yep.
What do you guys do? What does your business produce?
So I actually own 3 businesses total now, technically 4, but one of them I just don't do anything with. So we've got Cryptokeeper LLC, which I ultimately started, but then got into business with Miguel, and we have Debate Crypto LLC. That is our YouTube, our media channel. And we have an NFT project that we're working on right now, and maybe talk about that later, depending on what's going on. But I own a construction business and a lighting business. The construction business is remodeling homes, and the lighting business is called Buckeye X Light, and it is a business business where we do year-round lighting for the you ever want to not get up and put up Christmas lights on your home?
Absolutely.
We have LED lighting solutions that actually match the fascia of your home, so you can just keep them up all year round, and they're a lifetime guarantee, and you never have to do it again.
Wow, that's dope.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you basically, it's like it's incognito lights throughout the other seasons, and then you can just pop them up and go during the holidays.
Well, yeah, they're there all year round, and that's actually our newest venture into business. It's actually a family thing with my dad and my sisters. But you can change the colors on your phone and do all sorts of cool stuff. But my main revenue source is my construction business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you get much flack about your energy usage on your lighting business as you do the energy
With
business
the
of
crypto
your
mining?
Bitcoin?
That's right. That's right. I always tell people, I'm like, listen, this is absolute insanity when it comes to talking about crypto mining, because I think that actually is one of the stats that Christmas lights use more energy intensive than Bitcoin mining across the world. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Absolutely. How about with the construction? Did you make it through all that lumber craziness? I have a couple friends that own construction businesses, or they work somewhere in that field, and they just said it got brutal there.
It's getting brutal again right now, but from my inside track, my inside source tells me that it's only going to be a couple more weeks. But I'll tell you, we had a point last year where a 2x12 by 16 pressure treated was $154. Like, just it was absolutely disgusting. Some of the prices that I was giving out to people, they would be like, "Wait a minute, are you paying your crew leads like $500,000 a year, or how are we coming up to this number?" And I'm like, well, just go take a little peek at the lumber prices and you'll figure it out.
I wish I had a reference for what a normally priced piece of lumber, whatever.
Well,
that piece of lumber that I just that piece of lumber that I just said a normally priced would be maybe somewhere around like $38.
Oh wow,
that's pretty ridiculous.
Okay, good grief. Good grief.
Yeah, crazy.
Gosh.
So let's get back into this. Let's get into the crypto a little bit deeper here. I want to know, what was your first investment into crypto, and what was it like? What sparked it? What was the reason that you made that first investment, and what did you invest in?
Yeah, so I had a buddy, still have the same buddy, that was mining Bitcoin. And everybody's got the buddy, right? They've got their friend or somebody that they know. Everybody's got the buddy story. Well, this is my buddy story. And he was mining Bitcoin. This friend of mine was my best friend all the way through school. And he always had these like wild, harebrained ideas to make money. And that's always been his thing. He always had some sort of a little hustle.
Yeah.
And so when he first introduced this one, I was like, yeah, it's just one of his hustles, right? He used to sell like DVDs, and he ended up getting in trouble literally got a letter from the FBI because he accidentally sold a Disney DVD that was not actually out on DVD yet. So that he had he got like a letter about copyright infringement or whatever. But yeah, so he always had these crazy ideas. And I looked at the Bitcoin thing, and all I knew at the time was like, isn't that what they use on the dark web for like nefarious activities? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like,
or Club Penguin memberships, as we discussed in episode 1 of Between Two Coins.
Yeah. So I got introduced that way. And he kept telling me, he's like, I'm telling you, man, just you should check it out. So my first purchase was actually Bitcoin. That's not a big surprise there. I think it was like $3,500, I think. But at the time when I first got in, I wasn't like throwing money at it. It was like a fishing expedition. Like, let's see if we can make some money here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Nice.
So, what was your entry level? What was the date? Because I know, so you started, social media stuff.
Man, I don't know the date. It was technically 2016. I don't know the date, but that's actually a really good. I actually should look back at that. I need to look back at one of my wallets. I think it was around 4K, 35. It was somewhere around there. And then I bought a bunch up again when we actually, and this was probably the most that I bought was when the March 2020 happened. So I had a long time where I just kind of piddled around with it, let it sit there, whatever. And then in March of 2020, when it absolutely crashed, I believed in it enough at that point and had stacked up a decent little bit. But that I just went all in at that point.
Well, that's great. Great point there, because you had the fortitude to understand, okay, this dip shouldn't have happened, or, black swan event happens, pandemic happens. I'm going to go get me another bag. Yeah. Right now, we're sitting in a situation where, obviously we came back down from 69. A lot of people are concerned. There's that talk out there that Bitcoin could go back down at least to 30, if not down to 20,000, and people are freaking out. What would you say to someone who freaks out about a potential dip back down to low 30s or potentially down in the 20s again?
You know what? I look at it as a blessing. As much as I want to, do I want to see Bitcoin up and to the right forever and just continue? For sure, because, I hold it. But the reality is, a healthy market is not going to do that. We see these massive moves really quick and people get super excited, and that's when they FOMO in, and that is the wrong time, right? And so my thing that I always tell people is patience is what wins this game. It really is. I mean, it is getting in the game. Like, no matter what you do, get in. And once you get in, if you're able to be patient, you will succeed. I genuinely believe that with all my heart. I do.
Do you have any experience before crypto investing in stocks or anything else that kind of led into your Bitcoin investment, or was Bitcoin your first ever investment other than your businesses?
Yeah, no, I had been in stocks for years. I played around with options trading, and got my butt handed to me quite a few times because I didn't truly understand what I was doing. I thought that I was smarter than I think I really was, and I thought that it was like a cool thing to do, a cool way to make some money long term. But for me, it was more. I have kind of a crazy backstory, but I was always the gambler, right? I was willing to take risks. When I say gambler, I'm not talking about sitting in a casino and rolling dice. I'm saying that I was a risk taker just as a person. And so options trading looked like a fantastic idea until it wasn't. And I learned some really hard truths about the stock market, that it does not care about you. And I've taken that over into the crypto space and said, okay, there actually is a way to do this. There's a way to be successful at this. And it's essentially doing exactly what all of the newer people are not going to be doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So what is your investment strategy or trading strategy? Like, do you do any trading as well, or do you just invest at this point? And then, do you trade based off of, do you use technical analysis? Do you just follow fundamental analysis? Do you do sentiment analysis? And it sounds like that's what you're talking about right there, is watching and kind of doing the flip opposite of what new investors do. But what is your investment strategy that you use?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, 90% of what I do is hodling. I do have a trading portfolio that I play around with. Full disclosure on that, I have learned more from CT2A as it relates to trading than I have anywhere, period. That's not because I'm on your show. I'm just telling you that. Like, I have learned more from CT2A as it relates to trading than I have anywhere. And then I use that combined with Market Cipher. Friends with CryptoFace, and Market Cipher has been good to me. And I have a small trading portfolio that I play around with. I win some, I lose some, but the reality is I'm stacking more and more, trying to add my ETH position, trying to add to my Bitcoin position long term.
Yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. I mean, I work for the company now, obviously. CD2A. I mean, again, I don't know. Did you ever see me last year, like early last year? Did you see me on the show? And
dude, I remember when you were like, what did they call you? Regular Tim?
Well, it started with non-crypto Tim.
Non-crypto Tim. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. So I remember when you were non-crypto Tim, and then it evolved. But dude, I got to tell you, you had to have dove head and hands into TA, because the difference between non-crypto Tim and TA Tim and what's happened in that space of time has been incredible. Like, you genuinely said, okay, you had to have said, okay, I'm going to take this on. Yeah. I'm going to be the TA guy, and this is what I'm going to do. Well,
what it boiled down to, I was like, man, I'm freaking working for this company. We got Jebb McAfee over here, Jebb, one of, again, I say sometimes one of, but I really have not, I don't think I know a better technical analyst than Jebb. I don't know, to be fair, I don't know thousands of technical analysts, although I know they're out there. I don't know them, though. Jebb is the best. So
you don't need to preface your compliment. No, he is the best.
Jebb is, you're right, the best. Yeah, anyway, so the combination of just saying, I work for this company, freaking, why not go ahead and learn while I'm here? Watch CT2A, got to ask Jebb questions. And then something you said earlier, because you were talking about, you like to play and you've learned so much about what you've done through stuff. Man, sometimes the greatest lesson in the world was absolutely butchering my technical analysis on camera. Someone comments and says, dude, what the heck? You don't know what you're talking about. But they say something that's actually, they're trying to hurt my feelings, but it was actually kind of constructive. And I was like, oh, let me go learn from that. And, I'm a big proponent of failure is maybe one of the best teachers in the world.
Well, I was going to say, there's something interesting that I think the three of us can definitely relate to, in the fact of once you actually start doing, you're not just learning crypto anymore when you start going on camera. You're learning crypto in front of everybody,
exactly.
Right? So it's like, there's this kind of, even for me, like, it's the most opportunities I've had to learn is when people call me out in the comments in the chat. They're like, that was a really bad take, Sway. Like, that was really stupid. This is why you're wrong. It's like, oh, let me go modify. Let me realize what I was wrong in. And it's like that constant like check and balance that's in the chat all the time. People saying, hey, no, that was actually a really dumb take. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe let me go back to the drawing board and figure out why I was wrong instead of just kind of taking information and believing it. I think there's just kind of a unique experience, and I'd like to hear some kind of what your experience has been since kind of moving into being a crypto influencer. How has that kind of changed the way that you see crypto in the community?
Man, that's a great question. When I got into crypto, there wasn't anything like what there is today. I mean, it is not even the same ball game. And I would encourage people to get a good mix of people that they feel that they not only enjoy listening to, but feel like they can kind of back check what they've been talking about, see if it makes sense with their trading strategy or their HODL portfolio or whatever. There's a lot of people in social media that ultimately are clout chasing, or they're just mean, right? They just for no other reason than just to try to mess with your day. They'll say like mean things to you. And I think at first, I'm such like a people person. I love people. I genuinely love people as a whole. And so I think I had a little bit of a hard time at first with the idea that these people don't know anything about me. They don't know anything that I've been through, this, that, the third, and they're just going to jump in here and make all of these statements about, that they're going to put out as fact that absolutely are nothing of the sort. So I had to get past that. Once I got past that and realized, hey, you can't make everybody happy. You can make the best call in the world, and there's going to be people that are going to jump into your comments and tell you that you're an idiot. You can make the worst call in the world, and there's going to be people that'll jump into the comments and rub your back and tell you that everything's okay. And so you're never going to make everybody happy. It hasn't changed the way that I do things. One of the things I do try to do is specifically not listen to. So I actually stop if I'm doing so today is TA Thursday for us. Okay. We do 7:15 live stream Monday through Saturday. And on Thursdays is the only day that I actually make a concerted effort to not listen to you guys. And you're gonna be like, wait, no,
that's right.
What?
You told us that,
right? So I try not to listen to you guys today because tonight we do technical analysis, and we have CVO Crypto tonight. We have Gareth Soloway coming on. And I feel like it genuinely can kind of skew. It gives me that little, Tim in the back of my head saying, questioning what I'm seeing. And TA is an art form, right? It's not just a straight fact, and this is the only way to do it. There's multiple different ways to do it. And the reality is the market can go either way. And so, I know that's a long way of getting around what you were asking, but I love the social media thing, but it's also really hard from time to time as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I think another thing is, so this is where we can kind of start getting into the conference. So for you guys who don't know, we went to the Bitcoin 2022. It was a great conference. Nick was there, and we had a great time. We got to hang out.
And Nick was the first person, when we walked into the conference, Nick,
that's true, yeah.
You guys were just walking in then?
Yeah.
So we got general admission passes. Lessons learned. It was really nobody's fault. It just happened that way. We only had general admission. We didn't have press passes, so we couldn't go to the first day. But we walk in. We're like, let's see what's happening here. It actually, I rubbed. That's the first thing I did. The first person I recognized in the whole thing was Safdie Anamas. I bumped his shoulder, and then we walk into the hall, and here comes Nick Dye with a microphone, and I was like, oh, I know this guy. And so you were the first person. I think you were the first person we actually interacted with at the entire conference and did the little interview with you.
Well, I mean, I knew I obviously I watch you guys like every day. So like right when I saw you coming towards me, I was like, oh shoot, that's literally two people that I was definitely looking for. I had kind of my eyes out for people. And then running into Jebb was the weird one. I walked out of breakfast at a Holiday Inn, had a little breakfast place, and I look across the street, and I'm far enough away that I'm looking at his side profile, and I'm like, that looks like Jebb, but I haven't seen him. And I got closer and closer and closer, and I was like, Jebb? And he didn't even recognize me at first. I had on glasses and whatever. And then I was like, yo, it's Keeper. And he was like, oh, shoot. I think he thought I was like short or something. I don't know. Maybe
everyone's shorter in person for some reason. You see him on camera, but so leading into where I was getting at. So we were all there for the wonderful, crazy, quirky announcement from Jack Mallers talking about his new payment processing system built on the Bitcoin Lightning Network. And it has a lot of very interesting implications for what that means for merchants, avoiding other older payment processor fees and all that kind of stuff. So first of all, let's just go ahead and dive into it. What are your kind of initial reactions and thoughts when you heard that announcement from Jack Mallers? What was the first things you kind of thought when you heard it?
Wah, wah. that was literally my thought. I just, when I heard it, it was like, this is the big announcement that we're like partnering up with Shopify so I can spend my Bitcoin faster that I don't want to spend. So for me, because I don't like to spend my Bitcoin, and that's just not something that I'm going to actively be engaging in for me personally, right? It just kind of felt like a big nothing burger. And I think this is just a personal thought. I think the market kind of reacted a little bit to it as well. I think there was so much anticipation building up to that point. And then when that was the announcement, people were like, well, we already knew we could use the Lightning Network and spend our Bitcoin. So I don't know. It was kind of anticlimactic for me.
I don't know. I mean, because like, I know we talked about this a little bit at the brunch that we had. And because the new thing is obviously, at least to my knowledge, I don't think that people were able to use it at like grocery stores and convenience stores and everything else. So I thought that part of it was really cool. I also, again, speaking with, because you're a small business owner. I don't know if you ever would want to, but that was one of the biggest things I took away from it. And again, to even listen to commentary about it, small business owners are saying this is going to solve a lot of problems because what you're used to is using the modern day banking system, and that's what Maller's kind of talking about. We've been using the same banking system since the like 1940s,
or like payment systems.
The payment system,
processing rails,
So the ability to get your money instantaneous without that 3 or 4% fee that you have to pay and then wait for the confirmation, everything. To you, was that part of it exciting to you, the small business owner, or even that you're like, it's not really that big of a deal?
No, that part right there. So I have been telling customers for a while now, and I think I'm careful with how I use it now because what I recognize is that there's not that many people that are actually into crypto right now. I've been telling people for a long time, for years, hey, I'll give you a discount if you want to pay me in Bitcoin or Ethereum. And they look at me like I'm nuts, right? So for me, on in that regard, for sure, for me to collect it, I love it because I am trying to stack as much as I can over the long term. So that was the only part that I was like, you know what? I'm on board with it. It was the other side of it, like actually going to the grocery store and buying a candy bar with Bitcoin that I was like, yeah, I'm never, ever going to do that. But,
so one of the interesting things that I actually I definitely had a very similar reaction. I was very much so like, I still am in the camp of, in terms of spending Bitcoin, the issue to me is not whether or not I'll spend my Bitcoin, right? Because the thing is, the reality is we have a bunch of different accounts that we have our US dollars, the same thing. You have a spending account, you have a savings account, you have investment accounts. Like you don't spend every US dollar you get, Right. So I would imagine, with these different products, like there at the conference, there were so many companies that offered to turn your payroll into Bitcoin and stuff like that. So it's like, you can get paid in Bitcoin now. So it's like, I could theoretically live fully on Bitcoin now and not have to have any US dollars, have a spending account, my Bitcoin, whatever. The biggest problem for me is Bitcoin's volatility is so much of a hiccup in that system to say, well, if I'm going to be an early adopter to this, right? I go and hook up my payroll to one of these companies and I'm getting paid in Bitcoin and I'm Bitcoin through and through. Next thing you know, when I'm paying my bills, the values of my bills are changing so often because I can't even keep track. I can't even make a proper budget because of volatility of Bitcoin. I think that's definitely for me was one of the things that I was like, that's going to be difficult on the spending Bitcoin side. But where Kelly, he let me know after the show where I reacted to it, he made me realize, again, this is one of those examples of bad takes, May. I said the same thing. I was like, I thought this was ridiculous, the spending Bitcoin, and that doesn't seem like a very good use case for this. But I think the most interesting part is that it's actually, you can use your fiat dollars and run it through this payment rail, right? It converts it to Bitcoin and then converts it back, right? So you can actually spend US dollars and in the same anything to anything. So what that really opens up the opportunity is now it's actually just it's just a better pay rail for the merchants, for the companies to be able to avoid these fees, and also it gives you the opportunity as the company to potentially offer, like you said, for your services, offer discounts and stuff to get people to incentivize them to use this payment rail to be able to save you a little bit of money, right?
Well, but the other thing, and again, so this is where we're gonna get into a little bit debate crypto here. You know,
I like it. Let's do it.
Because we started at that restaurant. We'll give that restaurant a shout out. It was Cafe Americano down in
Cafe Americano. Yeah,
Cafe Americano. It's pretty good.
Yeah, good food. But anyway, okay, so here we go. All that was great. You know, I think the announcement was really big. I think one of two things, and I want to hear what you think about it. Maybe you won't debate with me. Maybe you'll disagree with something I say, and I might disagree with myself a little bit too. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay. Not very confident take so far.
This is a setup.
Not very confident.
This is a setup here. I think it's something that someone should chew on and make the decision for themselves. But first of all, you know, you a small business owner, what you could set it up. This is another way for you to make Bitcoin. Is you can get someone to pay through the Strike network. They're going to pay in US dollar, or they're going to pay in whatever they pay. And then you can make sure it turns out Bitcoin on the other side. So you, the owner, that's one way to acquire Bitcoin. I think that's really cool. But the other thing is, Smith kind of mentioned it. So here's where we currently sit. All right, so I understand that there's a thought. Do not sell your Bitcoin. Great thought. I'm in that boat. There is my investment portfolio, because I have a HODL portfolio and a trading portfolio. I do not touch my HODL portfolio. I do not take profit. That is there, right? I'm not going to sell it. But I have to keep a reserve amount of US dollars on hand because I have to pay my bills. I have to go buy food. I have to pay my rent. I have to go get gas and everything. If there's now an opportunity for me to utilize that, and when I said I might agree with myself, might disagree with myself, I fully understand the argument of volatility. So I'm sure that's the first place that you and Smay are going to go is, Tim, it's volatile. I get that. Yeah. But at the same time, what we do know that's not volatile is the US dollar just getting obliterated. Why not move a portion of my money that I've been sitting here holding in US dollars to buy groceries and to buy these different things that now I can buy through the Strike network with Bitcoin? Why not move that to Bitcoin? And whether I spend it or not, it is changing with the price of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, my US dollars just went up. Now the bad side is if the Bitcoin price goes down, it goes down a little bit. But at least I have it sitting there rather than keeping it for rainy day in cash in case of emergency. I now can keep it in Bitcoin in case of emergency. And if there's no emergency, I don't have to spend it. It will go up right with Bitcoin. I think that that's very enticing. I completely understand do not sell your Bitcoin. But to me, what I would do is, let's say, for example, I have $100,000 over here in my HODL portfolio. I'm not going to touch that $100,000. But the $10,000 that I keep in cash, or 20 or whatever it is, maybe I start to reassess what of that I turn into Bitcoin and put on the Lightning Network and use with my Cash App to potentially go in. And I was telling somebody earlier, one of the things that's really enticing about Bitcoin and what's unenticing about the US dollar is people have lost the fortitude or the thought to think about smart decisions. Like back when money was backed by gold, people were encouraged to make wise investments with their money. They really had to equate, is this really worth it to me or not? With a broken US dollar, we've kind of been trained our brains to be like, it's just money, let's just spend it.
Spend it.
Versus if it's sitting in Bitcoin, and I know if I hold on to this and wait, it'll be worth more later. That will stop things like how many times do we walk into grocery stores and I say, I'm going to get some eggs, some bacon, a couple pieces of bread. And then we're like, oh, well, those chips are buy one, get one free. And those cookies over there look really nice. And it's like, no, now I'm like, no, hell on, I'm spending my Bitcoin. I'm going to get what I need, and I'm going to understand delayed gratification. And that's actually what will help build wealth. Like some people I know that are millionaires, they're not millionaires because they have a job that pays, six figures. It's because they know how to pinch pennies. They know how to know when to spend, when not to spend. And I think that people turning their money into Bitcoin could help reteach that principle. I want to hear what you have to think about that. And feel free to debate. This is open forum.
So it's not even that I disagree with it. It's that I already live almost in that exact scenario that you just put out. Okay.
Gotcha.
If you looked at my bank accounts right now, right, I keep what I absolutely have to have in fiat. Other than that, I'm already there, right? I'm already I live in in the cryptoverse.
Gotcha.
My wife actually gets frustrated sometimes because like she wants to do X, Y, and Z, and she knows that like, hey, we could do any of this without even a thought.
Yeah.
But I have such a hard time because I know to do what she wants to do. Like she wants to put a pool in the backyard right now and put it like a big patio covering and do some fancy stuff out back that my company could do, right?
Yeah.
And she knows that. But for us to do that physically, I have to now reach into what's most likely my ETH portfolio, because that's my largest holding. I would have to reach into my ETH, which absolutely is like reaching into my chest and squeezing on my heart.
Yeah.
And so I'm already kind of there. I try to hold as little fiat as possible, but at the same time, the reality is that the volatility has to be a thought process, because until we work that out, the only way that goes away is if we literally go to a Bitcoin standard. And once we get to that, now it's a different story. If basically the price of something was in Bitcoin, it's just like when you're stacking, right? I'm really working on this to not pay attention to what it is in US dollars and do the conversion in my head. It always happens. I do it. But I'm trying not to, because ultimately what's my goal? To stack as much ETH, to stack as much Bitcoin, to stack as much of whatever it is as possible. And I think until we get to that, the volatility has to at least be a discussion, because what does happen when all of a sudden you do have a true emergency and the market's dumping, right?
Yeah. No, it's bad.
So I want to give Smate, you can add on, take your own pace. I have something I want to say back, but I want to give you your
I think
platform.
My biggest thing is, right, what the scenario you actually just laid out, specifically in terms of like when you were basically arguing, oh, well, now I can have my rainy day fund essentially in Bitcoin, which is I gotta be honest with you, I think that's a great idea. My only issue with that, for one, volatility, like Nick said, the volatility becomes an issue because next thing you know, what if you have a big emergency and Bitcoin dumped? You don't have as much in your rainy day fund as you thought you did.
Super rainy day at that point.
Yeah, it's a double rainy day. It's a hurricane at that point. But right. I think also the biggest thing is your argument of saying that it teaches people to be a little bit more spend less. It teaches them to be a little bit more thoughtful about what they're spending. The issue with that is that in the way our society and our economy is built, it's built for spending, right? Like next thing you know, if I don't go in and I don't buy those chips that were put on sale, and I don't buy those cookies that are put on sale, that business is making less money, right? Which means then they're paying their employees less because they're not getting they're not doing better. So there's all those ripple effects of that. So it actually is more of if anything, the incentive is as the business is like, we need you to spend as much as you can possibly spend. And that's just kind of what keeps our economy going round. So I think it's actually there's a bit of an issue in that case of saying like that's maybe a good way to fortify your own self for personal finance. But I think in terms of an overall mass adoption phase, I don't think that's the way that it should go. I think really what we're seeing now is that the bullish part of this is that it's an option, right? It's not that people should be encouraged to do it. The bullish thing is that it's an option, which means we're basically setting the steps, the foundation for when we move on to that Bitcoin standard. But in the meantime, there's going to be early adopters that are going to be enthusiasts that jump fully into the idea of spending all their Bitcoin and having these a Bitcoin spending portfolio and all this stuff. The thing is, it's going to be those people that are going to be hurting for a little bit until we finally move on to a Bitcoin standard. And I think this is bullish news. I think the biggest thing you can take away from this though is the usability of it, that you can actually it doesn't have to be spending your Bitcoin. It can be you spending. It's a payment rail, right? So it's
that my grandma knows that she could spend Bitcoin. It's that my grandma even hears what the heck Bitcoin is. Yes, I agree with that. That's definitely huge.
What I want to do is flip it a little bit more there, though.
Let's do it.
Especially you're talking about the economy, right?
We're taking it deeper. Let's go.
We talked about it on the show this morning, Coffee and Crypto. Again, so as you were watching this a couple days ago, it was on Thursday, the 14th. What percentage of people do you think currently use Bitcoin? It's not a high number.
It's not a high number at all. It's not the number they'll tell you either.
No. I think that I saw a number as high as 22% of Americans have had access to crypto in one way. Which means that they probably have they might count people who have an uncle who bought Bitcoin once, or someone who was given a free NFT and doesn't have any clue what to do with it.
They use Bitcoin to get a Club Penguin
Realistically,
membership.
we're probably talking about low single-digit numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3% maybe, I would say.
I'm in the 2%.
Yeah, that's just the United States. We're not even talking about now we go into the rest of the world, right? To see an increase in price, and this is economics, you got to see something start to flow. There's a lot of things that make something go up. It's not as simple as just supply over demand. There's also a thing that has to go with flow, money flow. At the moment, there's not a lot of Bitcoin money flow, which means that the only people that really are exchanging it, going back and forth, are people who are knowledgeable. We got to uptick the knowledge level. So when you start seeing things exchanged this way, when we're starting to use Bitcoin as payments, what that does is get more people involved. That percentage of people involved in crypto, it goes up. And that's what the coolest thing is. Love that Jordan Peterson said that, because he talked about how he didn't understand what Bitcoin was, but what he did was invest in it. And now that he has skin in the game, he actually starts to do his research. And now that's why he's such a big proponent of Bitcoin, right? We got to get that number of people involved in it up. Second of all, these businesses, they're already benefiting from the fact that they don't have to pay that 3 or 4% fee and then wait some time for confirmation. They can get instantaneous money. How long before businesses start saying, you know what, I'm going to keep a certain portion of this in Bitcoin? And now we're starting to get potentially institutional money coming into space. I think that actually economically, we want to make a case for our government to back money by Bitcoin and to use crypto more heavily. What better argument than to use it and show them the profitability and the benefits of it? And then that makes them come in and say, you know what, this crypto thing is not as bad as we thought. Let's utilize this because this is going to help. You know, our economy is based off of spending money. Yeah, let's start spending Bitcoin and allow the economy to actually build it up.
I actually think that's part of the reason why they're fighting back against Bitcoin. Besides let's take out the factor that that it's a fully decentralized network that they don't have control over. I think the other part is right there. So Smay said it earlier. We are incentivized in the world that we live in today to spend. Yes. That is literally the whole point, to stimulate the economy. Spend. It even gets put into movies, into TV shows. They are encouraging you to buy that name brand bag, to buy this, buy that, have that car, have this house, whatever. And Bitcoin, let's look at it. It up and to the right is what the Bitcoiners will tell you where it's headed long term. What does that do? That incentivizes people to save. And we are in a position right now where our economy is headed downhill fast, and we're either going to end up at a place of stagflation because of something like that, where literally people are not spending because they believe that the price of the dollar, or the value of the dollar, or the value of Bitcoin in this regard is going to be more than it is right now, and stagflation leads to deflation, and deflation is ultimately long term even more chaotic for our society, at least for a time, than inflation is. And so I think that's part of it as well. They're saying, wait a minute, these people just want to buy this and stack it and hold it. They don't want to like move it around. This is a problem. And so, from that standpoint, Tim, I think it's a genius idea, but I think it's part of the issue there, because we are incentivized to buy and hold, not buy and sell and buy and sell, you know?
Yeah. I think would be really cool is, there's a community, if we did a way better job as a community of, again, I understand don't sell, but like at least showing, like, I think Elon did that. Like that was one thing Elon did. And we're talking more Elon news here in a little bit. But Elon, remember when he liquidated Bitcoin and everyone's freaking out like, oh no, Elon's doing his rug pull. And it wasn't even Elon, it was Tesla. And he said, no, this wasn't a rug pull. What we were doing was proving to you.
Proving liquidity.
Proving the liquidity of Bitcoin, proving its value use case. And we talked about before, I believe that Elon is one of the innovators of he is one of the foremost innovators of our generation.
I think he really
maybe
is
the foremost.
The foremost, yeah.
And so, again, I'm not saying, I want people to make sure they understand. I'm not saying that I'm going to turn all of my money into Bitcoin and then just be spending my Bitcoin like it's nothing. But I'm considering a very small portion is saying, you know what, rather than leaving my rainy day money as and it sounds like you're already doing this, Nick, but rather than leave my rainy day money for an emergency in US dollar, I'm going to leave it in Bitcoin on the Lightning Network, and it's there if I need it. And if it loses a little value some days, that's okay. But guess what? I think there's a higher probability of that portfolio gaining value in terms of, we're talking about actual value, because US dollars are just a measure of value. They're losing it by itself every single day. Yeah. I want to gain value, and I think Bitcoin's a better option.
What about holding it? What about holding it in the form of a stable coin that's backed by Bitcoin?
That is like literally what I was about to say. Literally, that was exactly what I was about to say. So yeah,
that's a really interesting proposition, all in of itself. We could probably do a whole show on that.
We could. I think dang, how much? What time we got?
We're at
We could
we're at
get
40.
there. We're gonna have to do another one of that talking about because again, we had another interesting conversation about Terra Luna. Is Terra Luna going to be that exact thing? Is it going to be a Bitcoin backed currency? Gosh, and Do Kwon, he's going to do it. He is putting his money where his mouth is, and he is still investing. I'm proud of that.
I mean,
I'm proud of you, Do Kwon.
I love that you brought that up because that's literally exactly what I was going to say in terms of what, because I know that Tim was like, well, I'm going to put a little rainy day fund in Bitcoin now, and I'm like, that's great. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm actually going to go into high yield stablecoins. I want to go. I think I'm going to make I think that's where I'm going to put my, because the thing is, it's still pegged to the dollar. So like at the end of the day, like I'm still gonna, like if I do have an emergency, I'm not gonna have to worry about volatility in that sense.
Good point.
But I'm still gaining those returns on putting it in the stable coins. So that's where my mind goes in terms of personal finance. That's where I think would be the best use case now until Bitcoin starts to settle down and we start getting at least closer to that Bitcoin standard. But anyways,
let's transition.
Let's transition to this Elon stuff.
All right,
I'm ready to hear this. I'm very interested. You guys have kind of built this up.
I feel like this is going to be really disappointing.
I know what you're about to tell me.
This is Nick Dye's reaction to the most recent Elon Musk news. Now, Nick, you know, of course, that he invested in Twitter last week. He bought, I think he owned like a little over 9% of Twitter, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff. He's been messing with Twitter. You know, some of his Twitter posts have been kind of trolling Twitter as a company overall.
Well, I would like to note,
so
hold on. This is an important detail.
Yeah.
He bought 9% of Twitter and denied a seat on the board.
Yep.
That's a little sus.
Yep.
That's a little sus. So this leads into what's happening. So finish, Tim.
Reports are coming out this morning that he has offered, and it looks like a legitimate offer, to buy out all of Twitter and make it a private company.
Yes.
Really?
Doing a hostile takeover, buying all the shares at a premium.
And you're right, Smay. That was a key detail because if he was on the board, that is not a move.
They would limit. Yeah, they'd limit the amount of shares
you cannot own, but so many if you're on the board. So him denying.
He's playing chess, and we're playing checkers.
Exactly.
Over here.
Exactly.
So here's the question now this brings up. Okay. So obviously we know, and I think this is something that we kind of talked about this morning on the show. We know that Elon Musk, his ideologies align a lot with Bitcoin, and this is just another proof in the fact that, I mean, in his SEC filing, his pretty much exact words were saying that he's wanting to take Twitter private to make it the foremost freedom of speech platform.
Yeah.
What does this mean for Twitter's further integration with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole? What does that mean? Because I think this is an interesting thing. Because I mean, Jack Dorsey and the team at Twitter has already shown that they're very crypto forward in terms of implementing the NFTs and the crypto related tip jars.
Well, you know, Jack Dorsey's out.
Well, I know he's out, but I'm saying he kind of laid that foundation, right? Yep. So the thing is now it's even the interesting thing is how much further is that going to go, and how does this now serve the Bitcoin community of having this kind of town square that's fully just like no holds barred. Like this is the Wild West now. What do you think this means for crypto?
Dude, I had not heard this. First of all, I love it from a sense, and okay, let me back up.
Yeah.
So if what ultimately you're asking is, hey, if he really does what he says he's going to do and tries to buy out, all of Twitter and make it this private entity that's going to be all about free speech, that's the piece of the puzzle that's missing in social media and our world as a whole right now.
Yes.
Right. It's like these fringe different platforms that are free speech type platforms. Whatever happened to, so I was in the Marine Corps, right? And we fight for things like free speech, right? And now what I see happening, so, we can look at Twitter and say, oh, they're doing all these great things for NFTs. They're very crypto centric, but what are they not? They're not free. You cannot jump on there and say anything you want to say. You absolutely cannot. It has been shut down. People are silenced. Donald Trump all of a sudden, kicked off of the platform. Are we serious, right? And so if he actually were to do that, I think that it would be massive for the crypto space as a whole. I think it would be massive for social media as a whole. But I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. That's going to get shut down. That's going to get denied. And the puppet masters behind the scenes, because I do think that a lot of these platforms are basically controlled by the puppeteers behind the scenes. I don't think that they're going to let it happen. They ultimately, let's look at it. Elon Musk is already theoretically one of the more powerful people in the world, especially as it relates to financial markets. He can make a tweet and move markets. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to give him theoretical control over an entity as large as Twitter. Man, it sounds like a pipe dream to me. I would love to see it happen, especially if he genuinely gave us free speech on there. I just don't know that the puppeteers are going to let it happen.
You know, I think that's a great point you even make there, and it's what people really need to know. Like, a lot of people just think that wealth, and don't get me wrong, wealth goes a long way in giving you power, but true power is influence. And Elon Musk might be the most powerful human in the planet.
I mean, I don't know about the. I think he holds a lot of power, and I think he's one of the most powerful people on the planet. But I
don't
think.
know. I think the rest of it's spread out, because I think that big money buys influencers, but they spread out. I mean, I think singular person. Do you think there's a more influential person right now?
Yes, but I don't think that it's somebody that you would be able to name off the top of your head. I think that it's somebody that lurks in the shadows.
It's the lizard people.
Yes, that's right. That makes decisions for people like the World Economic Forum. Somebody like Klaus Schwab or whatever would be somebody that I would throw out there and say, as crazy and as awful as that might be, someone like that is incredibly influential.
Yeah, but I think. So I want to know, kind of like, because I kind of got your thoughts on the thing. So what do you think this means for crypto, like in the crypto markets? Does it mean anything? Really?
Well, here's a good question. Even caveat that. Let's say let's say it goes through. What does that mean? Let's say it is just a pipe dream, but the ripple effects of just this news. What do you think?
Yeah, the two scenarios, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that let's say it does go through and it happens.
Yeah.
I think that Twitter will become a whole new beast. I think that it will have the ability, that people will have the ability to actually be who they want to be. Let's be fair. We are on YouTube. We'll use YouTube as an example, right? Yeah. There's a lot of things that you just flat out can't say, right? There's things that right now that I might actually like say that I won't say because I know that it's going to demonetize the show or whatever, right? So we have to already be careful with that. So I think it would give a whole new meaning to what it means to have to truly have that free speech, assuming again that this isn't just another power play by someone that has the power to be able, you know what I mean? He would need to follow through on his end. For crypto, listen, if he bought Twitter, you're talking about one of the more influential places as it relates to the crypto space, and now is crypto centric as it relates to free speech, because let's look at it, like crypto originally was about the people, this peer-to-peer. Now we're saying, hey, peer-to-peer, we can communicate how we want to. We can actually talk about the things that we feel are relevant, and we can have this open, conversation. I think that it would actually turn into another platform to be able to long-term peer-to-peer move Bitcoin around. That would not surprise me whatsoever. If he were able to take control and genuinely take it private, I could see it being an exchange all in of itself. I could see it being a hub for all these great crypto minds to be able to get together and really hash out some of the things that currently they can't speak about on YouTube as it relates to the fog around the world and the other things that are happening with all the facial recognition and the social credit scores and all of these type of things. I think it could be absolutely huge. I think it would be fantastic. Actually, I would be a big proponent of it for sure.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
So now on the flip end, say it doesn't go through. What is the ripple effects of that?
And it seems like we live in cancel culture, right? So I think this would be another, like a very high level example, as I look at it, of cancel culture. You've got one of the most influential, powerful, richest men in the world, and he's not able to buy a company that he can afford to buy. Why? Right? Yeah. The question is why? Why not? Well, because again, those puppeteers don't want him to be able to open up a platform for people to be able to speak their mind and on such a high level. And so I don't think it's going to be I don't think it'll be negative like for crypto. I don't think that it'll affect like the prices as it relates to crypto. I don't think that. But I think it will be another blow for our ability to take the next step forward. I think we've taken so many steps back as it relates to our true freedoms. Yeah. And I think that this would be another example on a very high level of, hey, you don't truly have the freedom that you think that you do, unfortunately.
And that for that reason, I almost think it might have a positive effect on crypto, especially DeFi, all decentralized finance, because it is just one more wake up call to people saying, hey, this is not the land of the free.
If he can't do it, nobody can. Yeah. Right. That's just a fact for sure.
I think true. Where it takes my mind is just kind of the idea that I think with the so the government, sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. So the government right now obviously is not wanting Bitcoin to take over, right? It's not to their advantage at this point. The United States, the powers that be, if you will. So what I think, even if it doesn't go through, there's the detriment of it is like you said, there's almost like there's a risk of what if we get to this point where now the powers that be become so desperate to silence the crypto market, to start to overly censor even more. Us as crypto influencers, we've been relatively fine, but next thing you know, what happens if it starts to really, really crack down? I think this, if anything, was going to be the oasis, right? If Twitter was a truly free platform, this would have been the oasis, right? To become the place where we can actually discuss cryptocurrency and its developments freely and openly without any fear of being demonetized or deplatformed. What is that going to look like if that doesn't go through? Are we going to be able to continue to talk about cryptocurrency openly and freely if these powers that be start to get anxious that this is becoming something that they can't fight anymore?
Well, let me clarify this real quick, and because a question I want to ask Nick, get his take on it. Why did he start Tesla? Why did he start SpaceX? Why did he start any of these things? He says he said it's to help the human race. Now he's made a buttload of money doing it.
Yeah,
but he wants to help, and now he is showing his desire and interest in owning and running a free speech social media platform. So if he gets denied, what do you think the odds are that he takes that $42 billion or whatever he was going to offer Twitter and says, you know what, I'm going to do my own?
I think there's a fantastic chance of that happening. I think that it's going to be a double-edged sword for whoever, like if they tell him yes, I think that there's going to
They'll
be
make money.
Well, he's going to make money, but I'm saying it'll be a ripple effect through our society, because now all of a sudden, if he does open it up in that way, we are going to be able to have some brutally honest conversations about where things are right now, because there's some really sad truths to where we really are that, again, we can't even have that conversation on here right now. But the double-edged sword to it is, if they shut him down, he's not a voice that gets silenced. He is very openly an aggravant and likes to, poke and prod, saying, hey, Vladimir Putin, I challenge you to a death match or what, you know what I mean? Like one-on-one combat. I think the other side of it is, if they actually shut him down, I think that he's going to be able to come out and say, you see, I had the money to do this. I was going to pay premium prices to do this. Why would they not let me do this? Because they do not want you to have your free speech. So I think the fact that he came out and did this, whether it's a power play or whether it is truly to help the people, I think that no matter whether it goes good or bad, as you look at it, I think the government and the United States is going to feel the repercussions of the decision.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, it's good stuff. Well, I'm glad you know now. I'm glad you are up to date on Elon. And that was some really good, for someone who just heard it. I love the take you have and the thought.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Let me know, and all the audience know, where, if they want to see more of you and hear more of your thoughts on crypto and decentralization and freedom of speech and anything else, where could they come find you and learn more about you?
Well, hopefully I can give you the links and we can drop them down below the video, so we can definitely, I'm sure, do that. But no, so we have Debate Crypto on YouTube. It's Debate Crypto, no spaces or anything, just the word Debate Crypto. We do Monday through Saturday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have different days for different things. Saturday nights tend to be our probably most busy evening, and we do actual influencer debates. It's not just influencers, but mainly influencers, and we think that it's really healthy for the market to be able to hear different sides and opinions on challenging topics in the crypto space. So definitely on YouTube. We have Twitter, which is Debate Crypto OG. And then TikTok, I'm _Cryptokeeper. I will warn you, there is a fake that has 42,000 subscribers or followers or whatever. So pay attention. It's just _Cryptokeeper. And then my business partner and I, Miguel, he's Blockchain Crusader on TikTok. We've been working together for a while now. We've got an NFT project coming out that I would love for people to check out. I'll drop my Discord link down below. But we are actually bringing together the prepper community with the crypto community. The crypto community is trying to prepare for the US dollar to collapse. The prepper community is just trying to be prepared for the world to collapse. And we're basically marrying those two things. So
that's interesting. That's interesting.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I do let me get what does that even look? I just want to get like a 3-minute spiel. Because that I find that so fascinating. I just want a 3-minute spiel of what that actually means, and then we can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, well, thanks for asking. So we ultimately believe that your metaverse character is not going to save you when and if the world kind of takes a bad turn. And we think that a lot of people feel with their cushy lives, right? I have a beautiful home and cars and money in the bank and crypto and all of these great things. It's very easy to get comfortable. And unfortunately, as I look around this world today, there are some very sad truths. We were just talking about some of them as it relates to free speech, et cetera. We believe that there's going to be, I'm not trying to be a doomsday type guy, but I just believe that you're better to be prepared than not be prepared. And so ultimately, we're going to be doing a couple things. We're getting ready to release the roadmap. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to have a private place where even if the grid goes down, everyone that is a holder is going to be able to communicate. So we're going to have people all over the place still able to communicate. That is a work in progress that we're working on right now. So communication's huge. And then depending on some certain factors, how many of them you hold, this, that, and the third, we haven't released all this information yet, but we're actually going to be teaching in real life. We're going to be teaching water purification, fire starting, self-defense and firearms, shelter building, like first aid, all of the things that would actually allow you to survive if things didn't, go the way that we want it to go and continue towards our cushy lifestyle. Yeah. That's what we're doing. We've teamed up with some prepper companies and man, I don't know. I'm super excited. About it.
Prepare for a Red Dawn scenario.
That's what I love that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I might have to jump in on that.
And we hired an artist from DC Comics, so the art is dope too. So if you're into art, we spent some dollars, right? Some ETH actually, to be more specific, on a great artist, and he's freaking fantastic.
Awesome,
so.
Man. Come on, awesome. All right.
Well, yeah, Nick, we appreciate you being here, and we'll have to have you on again sometime soon.
Dude, thank you very much for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. That's all we got for today, though. So the episode 3. Make sure you guys tune in next Saturday. Checking out episode 4. I don't even know. Do we know who we're gonna have next week?
I have some ideas.
We have some thoughts.
I have some ideas.
We'll have to leak that later.
We'll let you guys know in advance once I've confirmed with them. But I have some ideas. So
all right. Well, Nick, you have a good rest of your evening. The rest of you guys have a great Saturday. That's all we got. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Whoa!
Look
at this guy.
He watched the entire video.
What a cool guy.
I think the next thing that he wants to do is hit the like button and then probably even subscribe to the channel.
And perhaps even comment down below what he thought.
That would be pretty cool.
Wow. What a cool guy.